Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and today I'm doing the How We Rate Our Books tag. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, I'm away on holiday in Wales at the moment, and so I thought I'd do a nice, quick and easy video this week for this weekend. And so that means a tag video, and this is the How We Rate Our Books tag. I first saw this on Crystal's channel on Fiber Artsy, and really liked the look of it. This was originally created by Novell Novels. I think I've got that right. And yeah, I've seen it on quite a few people's channels and I quite like this one. So yes, let's have a little chat about how we rate our books. So the questions then. Question number 1. How often do you DNF and what makes you DNF? I wouldn't say I DNF like super regularly, but I guess that's kind of subjective, isn't it? For context, I have read, I think, just over 80 books, I think I'm up to at the moment for this year. And in addition to that 80 something, I've also DNF'd 6 books this year. So that's that's the ratio for this year anyway. So I don't think that's, too bad, really. Why do I DNF? 2 reasons. It'll be one of 2 reasons. One reason is I have given the book its its chance, which means for me 50 to 100 pages, depending on the length of the book in general, or an hour to 2 hours on audiobook, again depending on the length of the book. If you can't grab me in that amount of time, then no, then I don't have. There's too many other things that I want to read. So if I'm not into it, if I'm not liking it by that point, then yeah, I'm out. The other reason is sometimes I actually do really like the book, but it's not the right time for it. And this happens more often than not with some horror. If it's got themes in it that I'm just finding a little difficult to take in, if like my mental health's not great, then, or there's something that's a bit triggery in it, then I might put it away if I'm not in the right frame of mind to deal with it at that time. And the same goes for some non-fiction books that again might be excellent, but I just can't deal with the themes in them at that particular time. That happens a little bit sometimes with books about trans issues. That I'm just not in the right brain space to deal with them. And those go into the kind of did not finish for now kind of pile. Well, they'll go back on the shelf and I will go back to them and finish them at a later date when I know that I'm then in the right frame of mind for them. They are far less likely, less frequent than the other kind of DNFs where I'm just like, no, don't like this. This isn't very good. So yeah, those are the 2 reasons why I might DNF something. Okay, question number 2. Do you rate books 1 star? Very occasionally, but generally, if I think if it's so bad to me that it's going to get 1 star, the chances are I will have DNF'd it already. So I won't give it any kind of rating because it wouldn't be fair on a book that hadn't finished. So yeah, rarely do I give a 1 star out. Occasionally it'll happen where I'll just if it's something short, I'll think, well, I might as well get to the end. Or, it's something where actually I just really don't like the book. It's not that it's bad, it's just there's something about it I don't like, but I kind of want to see where it goes because it's been something that has been talked about a lot and I just kind of want to see the whole package, essentially. Then I'll finish it. But it doesn't happen very often, 1 stars. For reference, by the way, whilst I'm talking about star ratings, on my I've gone onto my Storygraph account and looked back at my kind of all-time reviews and ratings. I've got around about 300 on there. So that doesn't cover everything that I've ever read, but it covers, I think, probably quite a lot of it, and certainly a lot from the last couple of years. And out of those nearly 300 ratings on there, I have only ever given 12 books a 1 star. So it, as I say, it really doesn't happen that often. And I think looking back in the history, a lot of those 1 stars are from quite a few years ago. So yeah, it doesn't happen regularly these days at all, mainly just because I kind of go, what's the point in carrying on if I'm not enjoying it? I'm going to DNF it. Okay, question number 3. What is a 2-star book to you? 2 stars is very much a meh book. It's not terrible, but it's not good. It's mediocre. It probably bored me a little bit. It's probably something where it's like, as I say, it's not, I don't think it's terrible, but it's, for whatever reason, I just haven't really enjoyed it that much. I've got through it. I can't really say anything really hot, sort of majorly negative about it, but at the same time I can't really say anything hugely positive about it either. It's probably got some redeeming features to it, but not enough to kind of balance it out and make it a good book. So yeah, it's just one that's left me very you know, it's not just about the quality of writing, it could just be that actually the quality of the writing is great, but actually for me, I just kind of felt I was left very cold by it. And so that could earn a 2-star as well, because that's very much it. It just left me feeling about it. Again, 2-star ratings, I don't have that many of. Out of my 300-ish ratings, I've only ever rated 18 books 2 stars. So it's not a regular one for me, fortunately. Okay, prompt number 4. Is a 3-star book a good book to you? Yes, it is. 3 stars to me is very much it was decent. That was good. That was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. It had, you know, probably some major flaws to it, but it also had a lot of redeeming features. And in the end, on the balance between the flaws and, you know, the positives and the negatives definitely outweighed the negatives. So yeah, it's a good book. 3 stars. Very enjoyable, even if it's, you know, ultimately quite flawed. And out of my 300 ratings or so, I've rated just over 50 books a 3-star. So yeah, you know, it's one that I do use, definitely. Okay, prompt number 5. What does 4 stars mean to you? 4 stars is a great book. 4 stars, I think the crux for me is not only a book that I would recommend, but a book that I would read again. I think it's, you know, it's got to be that good that I would read it again. And it's one of those where it's, you know, it's probably just missing something. It's not necessarily that there's any kind of negatives that bring it down that I can point to, but it's like, it's just missing something, whether it's about the feel of reading it, the experience, whatever, how it made me feel, that just hasn't quite pushed it into that top category. But yeah, 4 stars is a really good book to me. I have rated just over 100 of the 300 books on my Storygraph at 4 stars. So it's the one I use the most, actually. So I think I'm lucky. Either I'm lucky and I've just read a lot of really great books, or I'm just really easy to please. I'm easy when it comes to books. You know, that I've had some great reads, and maybe I'm not discerning enough. Who knows? But these ratings for me, they are so arbitrary because they're all about how I feel about the book. I don't really look into kind of, you know, what I think too much about the, you know, the kind of literary quality, if you like, the writing. I know if I like the writing, you know, and whether I think it is, I know when I see bad writing, and I know when I see amazing writing, but it's less about the kind of the quality of writing for me and more about just how the book made me feel, whether I had fun with it, etc. So yeah, it's like, it's really, I'm not reviewing things. It's all very arbitrary about, you know, how I enjoyed something. Prompt number 6 is, do you ever do half-star ratings? Yes, I do. I never used to. mainly because I used to use Goodreads and they didn't allow for a half star. Whereas now I use Storygraph and they allow for not only a half star, but 1/4 and 3/4 stars as well. I'm not going that far. But yeah, I do use a half star now because it's quite useful where, you know, certainly when I'm in kind of sometimes I'm in like a 3 to 4 range where I'm like, oh, 3 feels too low for this book, but 4 feels too high. So I split the diff and go 3.5. So yeah, it's a difficult one really, half ratings. To be honest, I think I'm going to change my rating system next year. As part of some changes I've got planned for the channel. I think I'm just going to change my system to a out of 10. Because in the end, you know, then at least, you know, a 3.5 is essentially a 7 out of 10. A 3.5 out of 5 is essentially, you know, it's a 7 out of 10. And that kind of feels more accurate in some respects. I don't know why. But yeah, I think the out of 10 for me just gives me a little bit more wiggle room with my ratings. So I think I'll probably end up changing to that. So yeah, I have started using half stars for now, to say, but that may go away again when I change to a different system. Okay, prompt number 7 is, do you rate books 5 stars often? And what do 5-star books do to make them rate that high? I rate 5-star books quite often, or I rate books with 5 stars quite often, probably more often than I should. As I say, I probably need to be a little bit more discerning. Out of my 300 ratings on Storygraph, about 90 of those have got 5 stars. So that's quite a lot of 5 stars, I think, for that small number of books that I've rated. So yeah, 90 out of that's nearly a third of 5 stars. So yeah, I think it's because, you know, as I say, it's not all about like it's got to be the most amazing writing in the world in terms of prose or anything like that, or even story, plotting, things like that. It's just that some books, you know what it's like, some books just sink their teeth into you. They grab you and they won't let go. And they might be trashy, they might be cozy, easy, you know, things you can rip through in a couple of hours, whatever it might be. But for some reason, those books really just give you some of the most enjoyable reading experiences. It's that kind of, it's when you end up in a bubble with your reading. It's like you're reading something and the whole world stops outside of that bubble, or it ceases to exist for you for the time that you're in that book. That's what gives a 5-star for me. It's something that sticks with me and that I know I will go back to, that will become a comfort read or will become an annual read or whatever it is, because I just loved the experience and the story so much. So yeah, that's what a 5-star read is to me. Okay, prompt number 8. Has your rating of books changed over the years? Yes, in terms of I never used to rate my books until probably 3 years ago, particularly. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. So there's quite a few books I haven't rated because I don't remember them well enough, that I kind of got logged but not rated. Then I started using the Goodreads rating when I started using Goodreads. But as I say, that was only the 1 to 5. You couldn't use the half stars. And then I switched only this year to Storygraph. So that's when I started using the half stars. And as I say, I'm probably about to change it again next year in 2024 and go to something that gives me a little bit more nuance, I guess, with the rating, or it just feels a bit easier for me to rate stuff on a 1 to 10 scale. Okay, and finally, prompt number 9. Where do you record your book ratings? On Storygraph. That is the only place these days. I used to have it on both Goodreads and Storygraph and started putting it in a spreadsheet, and I'm just like, no, you don't need it everywhere. Just put it on one place. So yeah, it's just on Storygraph now. I find that's the easiest place to rate stuff. and to kind of keep abreast of my ratings as well. Because as I say, like, you know, I've just been able to easily go through my stats on, you know, what my kind of what my kind of span of ratings looks like across the books that I've actually read and rated. And I like to be able to see that over time as well. I like the stats section on Storygraph a lot. So yes, the Storygraph is my current recording system for ratings and reviews and what I want to read and everything else, basically. So that is the end of the prompts and the end of the tag. I won't tag anyone in this. I think this has done the rounds quite a bit already, but it's one of those where I say, if you enjoyed this and you fancy giving it a go yourself, then please do. Yes, that is it from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming very soon. But thank you very much for watching today, folks. I will be back with wrap-ups for September's reading next weekend. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.